Good afternoon, Internet. I'm Nate. This is my channel. As you can see, today's review is Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 1, Episode 5, Cupid's Errant Arrow. Our cast of intrepid heroes remains the same: Brad Boimler, Devana Tendi, Beckett Mariner, and Sam Rutherford. Our popular side characters also remain the same: Carol Freeman, Jack Ransom, Shax, and T'Ana. Today's episode summary, written by yours truly. The Cerritos is called in to help the Vancouver with the detonation of an irregular moon, giving Boimler the chance to introduce Mariner to his girlfriend who is stationed on the Vancouver. Meanwhile, Tendi and Rutherford face challenges all their own that may very well change their friendship forever. This episode, a controlled demolition of the shattered moon, providing support for the Parliament-class USS Vancouver, an obvious Nebula or Miranda style Sovereign-class ship that looks quite nice. If you take a look at the ship, it's I really do like the Miranda or Nebularized ships where they take the hero ship and then just do a smaller cut down version. I really do like that. I'm a bit upset they never did something like that for Enterprise, but the Star Trek Legacy games kind of took care of that. The Vancouver herself specializes in large-scale engineering projects, and it's interesting seeing a purely engineering ship, and I'm wondering if we're ever going to see a purely security ship, or if Starfleet just doesn't build those. We cut to the internals of the Vancouver, and it's a reuse of the bridge set from the Cerritos, and the captain is very arrogant when dealing with Carol and Ransom, who seem to be taking it all in stride, perhaps another example of Starfleet's elitism. Here, we learn that the mission is less straightforward than it seems, as they may have to cancel the detonation of the moon, not because of any stability issues or any issues with the moon itself, but purely because of politics. And here we get a global warming analogy, as we see a room full of delegates, each having their own reasons not to want the detonation of the moon to go forward, mostly political or religious, and every reason we see with these aliens would be considered talking points for the American political right wing. We get another example of Mariner being a bit of a bitch as she takes the piss out of Boimler, but this seems more like friendly needling rather than malicious bullying. And we're finally getting Mariner becoming more of her own character and less of a male version of Rick, which I'm really liking here. This is really good progression for Mariner's character. We learn here that Boimler has a girlfriend on the Vancouver. We get some more of the banter between the two before we cut to our super science bros, Tendi and Rutherford, as they revel in their love of the Cerritos as they perform maintenance on the computer console. Love the enthusiasm, really do, and I love to see them share their enthusiasm with each other. But with some malfunctions as they work, they acknowledge that the ship has seen a lot of light years. And I really do wonder how old the Cerritos is, because she's got some ambassador DNA in her, I think, with the saucer section being that perfectly round saucer. We only ever see that on the ambassador class. So maybe pre-Dominion War. So probably 40 years, maybe. They begin to talk about the Parliament class, the new darling of Starfleet, and the major advances that the ship has when compared to the Cerritos. And I love the byplay here. They gush about starships and stuff like we do. It's brilliant. I wonder if they have a fandom for starships in Starfleet, besides the engineers. We cut to a brief look at an external beauty shot of both ships, and we see the vast scale of the Parliament class when compared to the Cerritos. Then we cut again to the shuttle bay of the Vancouver, doing a callback to Tendi's arrival on the Cerritos. Both Rutherford and Tendi are super hyped about being on the Vancouver, much more than normal. It's like the two of them have each had a pint of coffee each. They are well up for it. But Mariner, being a little bit of a buzzkill here, reminds them that this ship is basically just like the Cerritos, much to their disbelief as they laugh her off to see the sights on the ship. Boimler arrives with a cuddly teddy bear in engineering, gold, and a visor, and I'm going to be calling this teddy bear Geordie LaCuddles, and a bouquet of flowers. He's a little worried. His girlfriend is supposed to be meeting him here, but she has yet to arrive. And here, Mariner steps up as the good friend she's slowly becoming, probably thinking he got catfished or the Star Trek equivalent of it anyway. And I like this Mariner stepping up to help a friend. I like that. But she, and I'm sure most of you, are surprised that someone actually turned up. One Lieutenant Barbara Brinson, whom I'm going to refer to going forward as Babs. And she is way out of Boimler's league. Like, he's playing baseball and she's playing American football. She is so far out of his league, it is not even funny. And that makes Mariner immediately call for the program to end, believing that she's in some type of simulation, as the two obnoxiously kiss, like the loudest, sloppiest, wet-sounding kiss you can imagine. Ugh. I am uncomfortable with that amount of PDA, I really am, and so is Mariner from the look of her. Not only has our boy got a super hot girlfriend, but she is a full lieutenant. None of that junior grade crap here. And as they embrace, he drops both Geordie LaCuddles and the bouquet of flowers. Babs takes them on a tour of the ship while regaling them with some of her time travel shenanigans in 1920 Chicago. And Boimler laughs obnoxiously loud, and Mariner is playing our role in this of the uncomfortable third wheel. And they are going full pet name and cutesy baby talk. A nightmare scenario for me, and I'm sure for most of you as well. Mariner questions why they are together, but Babs just responds that she was attracted to his primal confidence. And I'm pretty sure all of you are wondering the same thing, that maybe, just maybe, Boimler's the one doing the catfishing here. Mariner quips that she doesn't feel anything around Boimler, and then we meet Jet, and we see some of her interactions with him, and it sets off every red alarm with me. Red flag, red alert, red alarm, everything. He is being super handsy with her, and she is just allowing it. And she starts being carried around in a very relationship-like manner. That makes Boimler, Mariner, and me very, very uncomfortable. He reveals that the demolition has been postponed by, quote, purple people. Racist. This means that they have to recalibrate the whole system, cutting their date short. And, dude, Boimler, 10 courses on a date night is way too much for just a date night. They make some innuendos, get handsy again, and then Babs reveals that she used to date the much bigger, much stronger, much more handsome, much more athletic, and much more built Jet. But she assures him that she only has eyes for Boimler. Red flags abound here as well. And we learn that his name is actually Bradwood, not Bradley, Bradwood. And before she leaves, she snorts him, like full mid-trap, all the way up his neck, up to his lower ear. Just one big, oh, super unsettling and super weird. And with a bit more PDA, Mariner and my own suspicions are aroused. We cut to our super science bros as they are they are vibrating like Muttley with a medal, and are salivating at the opportunity to get to work on the Vancouver. Again, I've mentioned it every review so far. Rutherford needs a hobby. but at this point I'm pretty sure he just needs an intervention. Apparently, Captain Freeman wants alternatives to implosion and to try and meet the demands of the locals. Our tag team here has to run diagnosis on the simulation mainframe using the brand new T-88s. And, as a little extra incentive, the one who gets finished first keeps their T-88. Tendi slaps the superior officer to make sure she's not dreaming, and striking a superior officer is a court-martial offence, but they're just going to let that slide here. We cut to Boimler and Mariner, who are both concerned about Babs, but for very, very different reasons. Boimler is concerned, and logically so, that he doesn't measure up to Jet, and Mariner thinks she is some form of alien predator trying to eat him. And in this universe, it's a real possibility. She has seen it happen, as we see in a flashback, but those of us who have watched Star Trek for years have seen it happen as well, from TOS all the way through to the most modern iteration of Star Trek. There is always some form of alien trying to mate and or eat with a member of the crew. But she also comes across as jealous and clingy, which is sending a bit mixed messages here for the Mariner character. We cut to an increasingly irritated Captain Carol Freeman as she's having to deal with these people and their outlandish demands, which she solves like a negotiating badass. Much props to her, as they are rehabbing her character from the last few episodes. I'm liking that. Carol being a lot more Captain Picard. Really do like that. But we get one guy who's unhappy because somehow the moon stops pollution from getting to his planet. Again, how? Carol is so irritated that she snaps at him. And then we cut down to the simulation room where Boimler makes a hash out of trying to be impressive for Babs, and Mariner has a plan of her own to reveal Babs as an alien predator that fails spectacularly. And that was not the way to go about it, Boimler. Trust me, you trust her until she gives you a reason not to trust her. So we cut back to our super science bros. They are running maintenance, both imagining bringing the T-88s back with them in their friendly competition and being heroes of their respective departments. And this starts the friendly competition becoming a lot less so, as Rutherford uses his implant to speed up his scanning speed. Fun, but frustrating, and I hope we don't lose our super science bros to this competition. We cut to Mariner, using a conspiracy-style murder board. She has ruled him out as a Dolphin, but has not ruled her out as being a Cardassian infiltrator or an evil transporter clone, both actual possibilities that have happened in the series. We even get a Suliban reference, and it's nice to see them once again. We haven't seen them since Enterprise. Mariner really does look like a crazy woman as Boimler decides to change everything about himself to try and keep Babs. Never a good idea, but Boim's being a boy super extra small makes me smile. Once again, Boimler makes a hash out of trying to impress anyone as Mariner steals a lock of Babs's hair, and her tests come back negative, so she thinks that she is a reptoid. Boimler left, leaving her alone to her rambling, and she really does look like a crazy ex-girlfriend. We cut over to our boys Shax and Ransom is surprisingly not being a dick and hasn't broken into posing yet. They are running out of time, and the last delegate is being a super dick. And I would have shot him by now. I have no patience for this type of person. It is ridiculous. We cut to the Vancouver shuttle bay and some very, very suggestive noises as our boy Boimler goes to meet with Babs, with Geordie Cuddles and flowers, and finds Babs and Jet working. They have a small argument, but they start making it up as Mariner, like a crazy woman, enters into the shuttle bay and accidentally pantses Babs. Before Boimler and Babs leave, leaving behind a very confused Mariner. And she is like an obsessed Tsunade girlfriend in a Japanese anime. But as they leave, she considers how wrong she was, but then finds the discarded exoshell of a parasite and launches after them. As she races after them, Tendi and Rutherford blow past her. Their competition has descended past fun and into open conflict. The two almost descend into a physical fight when they are interrupted by the engineer that gave them this assignment. But we learn that the reward is keeping the T-88, but that means transferring to the Vancouver, something that neither wanted. And this is what happens when you don't listen. But apparently we didn't either, because there was no mention by this guy that the transfer was ever going to go through, or that he was even considering transferring people in the first place. Mariner fails to blag a transporter to Boimler's location, so she commandeers a spacesuit to get to his location via spacewalk. And she totally cock blocks Boimler here, busting in on him as he is buck naked, and Boimler, who's totally about to get busy right there. Dick move, girl, dick move. Boimler gets knocked out with Mariner standing over him as Babs walks in, and we get a Starfleet catfight begins. Someone called Joey Styles. We got ourselves a catfight. We cut to a depressed super science duo. Yeah, they like the Vancouver, but they love the Cerritos. So they tell the engineer that they are staying where they are, and he proves to be one of the worst gold shirts we've ever seen outside of the original series and Voyager. He was going to force it on them, so they steal his pad and make a break for it. Like, seriously, what a jerk. We cut back to our catfight in progress as the two fight over Boimler, Babs thinking the same thing about Mariner, that she is some form of alien infiltrator trying to steal him or about to kill her. And not without reason, given how Mariner's been acting. We cut back to the super science duo as the chase is on and they make it to the warp core. They dive through a Jeffries tube and into a turbo lift, avoiding the crazed engineer. And he is pounding on the door like this is alien and he's trying to break in. We cut to the bridge as the diplomat is begging the two captains not to go through with the demolition. He is even bringing up the prime directive, only to find out in the middle of his rant that there are only two people living on the planet, him and his wife. So Carol just blows the moon up in the first place. As the two stop their little cat fight, they start to bond by swapping Boimler stories. But as they do, Mariner's tricorder picks up a parasite. We cut back to the super science duo as they discover the chief engineer here, or the engineer that they've been working under, wants to transfer himself to the Cerritos. He even pulls a phaser and shoots Rutherford, not once, but twice. But as Rutherford gets back to his feet, we see him start recording as the chief confesses to wanting a much simpler life compared to the high-stakes all-go life on the Vancouver. They force him to stop the transfer and then blackmail him into getting some T-88s. Cunning Rutherford is the best Rutherford. We cut back to Babs and Mariner as they find a parasite attached to the back of Boimler's head. After they pull it off, we jump to the lower deck shuttle bay and the parasite in a containment unit. The bug is an unsettling union of a tick and the bluegills. It is really creepy looking. The parasite apparently reproduces by making its carrier chemically irresistible to its mate. A bit like the worms in Futurama. To me, this explanation makes no sense. Why didn't the transporter pick it up? That's what the biofilter is for. And why didn't it show up on any medical test? And how was this maintained when they were separated from each other with Boimler on the Cerritos and Babs on the Vancouver. I think because the Mariner's stories with Boimler while she and Babs were bonding, Babs decides to end the relationship with Boimler. But she does take a consolation prize. She takes the parasite for future study. And as Mariner comforts Boimler, Babs returns to remind her of a game night that they have afterwards. She confirms it, and Babs leaves, leaving Boimler again, who finds out that Babs had told Mariner the egg sack story, and he takes it better than I would have. We cut back to our super science bros as they once again are talking about their love of the Cerritos while doing maintenance. They reveal each of them has stolen a bag full of T-88s, proving that great minds do indeed think alike, and so do great friends. And as the episode closes, we close on the two having a good TOS style laugh at the situation. So for Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 1, Episode 5, Cupid's Errant Arrow, I give this episode 3 stars. This is the first episode where we see Mariner acting more like her own character and not a female version of Rick. We see them starting to rehab a bit of Carol Freeman from the last few episodes where she's been a maniacal villain, especially to her own daughter. We get some character evolution with Brad Boimler, only to lose a bit of it at the end there, which, easy come, easy go. We see more examples of the elitism in Starfleet with the captain of the Vancouver. And we see the close friendship between Tendi and Rutherford, which is really good in this episode. I really enjoyed that. And solid 3-star episode. I would recommend this episode. It is really good. So for making it this far into the video, I wish to thank you. Please like if you like. Please leave a comment and subscribe. And I will catch you guys somewhere down that road. Have a good day.